life is always a bit of a shock to me, and I'm always taken by surprise. And most of my songs, if they're about anything, are about the shock of existence. You know, people say, well, Hitchcock writes about food, sex and death, you know, with a side order of fish and insects. You know, as if I was being insanely whimsical. Oh God, here comes the old food, sex and death man again, you know, never mind. You know. But, you know, food, sex and death are all the sort of corridors to life, if you like. And you need sex to get you here, food to keep you here, and death to get you out. And they're the entry and exit signs.
Chorus. And that's it, and then all end on the second Who on that.
The second one. Okay.
Yeah. So this is just, I mean, the very last one at the end.
Right.
So just try and get this right. This is a getting it right take.
Yeah, the getting it right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We're actually.
Are we off?
Just great. Everyone's turned up. It was Michelle's idea. I called, do a few gigs to pay for it. With the core band of Scott, Bill, Peter and me, we're going to try and record and arrange some of this stuff. I've left message for John Paul Jones and Bill Soyman, the High Street this morning. Nick Lowe's going to pop in at various points. Chris Ballou, I've got to call back. He's in his Holiday Inn. Maurice Windsor will come down later to do harmonies.
The guys in my band just, you know, felt that they wanted a year off, and for me, taking a year off from music would be like taking a year off from breathing, you know? I mean, it's called death. You know, I can't do that. Robyn and I have been working together for years, and it seemed like a perfect time. I finished the REM tour last summer, and Robyn called up and said, oh, I was thinking maybe we could do a couple days recording in Seattle, and it just, you know, we made a record's worth of stuff in a couple days. It felt great. We kind of finished it off, and things started occurring. All of a sudden, it felt like, hey, you know, this is a real band. It feels like a band. We're playing like a band. You know, getting to spend a week in London is not a bad thing.
I don't really know what the words are. It's a down beat. The beat comes down and you ride that monarch out of town. Everybody's pleased to be the person that they want to see. If you hit high piano, triplets up the top, it would sound good if I was not a piglet. Here comes the chorus. I'm gonna see.
If you're working with open-minded professionals who like to leap on the angles of chance and see where it takes them, it's fun. And I think it's just because they're so good that they like the risks and the excitement of going into something without preparing for it.
The fact that we're lucky enough to get to do this, you know, we get to still write these songs and play them. You know, sometimes that's its own reward. I don't think anyone in this group or anyone in this house today measures success by how many records you sold or how much money you've got in the bank.
Everyone else is a hollow bell except you. I'm gonna see you in the afterlife. I'm gonna see you in the afterlife. I'm gonna see you in the afterlife. Here comes Nero with his foot. He's someone good. He's made of soot. He's got a laurel crown around his head, which keeps him dead, not down. He rides the monarch out of town, but you know just what Robespierre said. Well,
I don't always know what I'm on about. I just think, sort of write the song first and then ask questions later. So it's not that this is all a carefully thought out code.
I like to not hear a song before I go in the studio. I know some people like to rehearse and prepare, but I kind of prefer to just have someone show it to me and then I just play right away. You know, I've always worked really quickly and I like to work really spontaneously, and I always think that your first thought or reaction is always your truest and best. The guys in the REM don't feel that way, so it's just a struggle, and it's been a struggle for years, and it's getting more of a struggle to me wanting it to be fast and spontaneous and let it go, and they want to spend a lot of time working on it. This is the way I am. This is why I live my life and the way I record, and the stuff I do with REM is different.
motorcade is waiting. It's waited all your life. The driver's dead, his bony arms around the bones of his wife, and that's true love. He's still got the radio on. Does it make you cry?
If I start off singing some jolly little song about bapping along the back road somewhere, or, you know, having an ice cream on a beach or something, inevitably things will get darker. I just need to be able to make them get lighter again if necessary. You know. Otherwise, all you're doing is making people's already difficult lives slightly worse. And, you know, all you can do as an intelligent person is to try not to add to the sum of human misery. But I've certainly, you know, made my contribution to the pile.
Does it make you
I think that's as good as anything, you know, which is nice because it's a brand new song and it's not something he did 40 years ago that you say, oh, it was so great, you know, he really wrote great songs then, you know, ooh, but he's still plugging away. No, he's still writing good songs. Once you join a club, you go behind the scenes and you see how things work, and you know the veil is drawn back in a way and you say, oh right, well there's the cogs that do this, and there's the machine that made this happen, which before I thought was absolutely mysterious. Where does that energy come from? How does he maintain such seemingly genuine enthusiasm and excitement for his work and for playing in general, and for the people that he works with, and for the people that he loves in his life.
We live in a pornocracy, she said, where people find their flames. Desire is the only judge, and God has many names. One of them is Mr. Spinks, and one of them is God. Mirror fishes from the rocks for the Da Vinci Code.
Down the bath plug with a song, a dance and a smile. Well, I think if you're going to go down the plug, then you want to go laughing, definitely. I mean, we don't, again, you know, laughter is the date line that you cross when life becomes unbearable. You know, look at Basil Fawlty. I mean, it's so painful that it's funny. And one of the reasons we've managed to survive is because we can make a joke out of almost anything. And the people to most beware of are those who have no sense of humour. I think the Adolf Hitler joke book was pretty thin.
What you call fate, I call it pollution. What you believe is gonna kill us all.
You're always preaching to the converted in songs. That would never be heard by a creationist, and if they did, they'd probably just think it was a nice tune and that I was on this side.
Destroy him anyway. We have fallen
stuff is fumbled for, you know. But I think as an instinctive songwriter, I've probably got a fair way, just because I don't neglect thoughts or ideas. You know, if I suddenly think, okay, I'm going to write a song called Note to Self, Kill More Flies, I do, and I have. It wasn't that great, so I won't sing it to you, but, you know, it's worth trying. You never know what's going to come up.
I tend to think that there are ways to approach subjects where the listener discovers what it's about without being beat over the head about it. I mean, honestly, for me, the more straightforward the song, the more it wears out for me after 1 or 2 plays. You know, you can always find depths in his stuff that, you know, like the 10th time you hear the record, you just go, oh, yeah, that's what that song's about. Or, I've never noticed that line before.
One of my favorite records of his has always been I Often Dream of Trains. So I would obviously recommend that to anyone.
I often dream of trains when I'm alone. I ride on them into another zone. I dream of them constantly, heading for paradise or Basingstoke or Reading.
For an American to listen to Robyn's material and some of the things he writes about, you know, it's like, well, ooh, Basingstoke, that sounds mysterious. When of course it isn't at all.
And there in the buffet car, I wait for eternity, or Basingstoke, or Reading.
Often Dream of Trains is a great collection of songs, and it really paints a really strong picture of a certain kind of England that might not have even existed when he was writing that record. But I get the feeling it's more an England of his youth than our early 20s. But you know, sometimes that's what you want out of a record. It's just that it gives you a picture of a place and a time that that I've never seen.
Sailor from paradise, sailor from Spain, sailor of ecstasy, grow in your veins.
You know, I've listened to a fair bit of traditional music, what's called folk music, and you know, my dad used to play those records when we were growing up. Not really obscure stuff, but things like the Clancy Brothers and Louis Killeen, a bit of the Watersons. And I think my tastes were probably more morbid because I was younger and more intense. I don't think he really wanted music that plumbed the depths, but if you were growing up in the 60s with no immediate threat to your life, you were quite happy to do that. See how dark you could get, because in a way it was all guaranteed, you know. The biscuits were there, the tea was there, the social security was there. We didn't even have Vietnam.
Catch on the hook of young John in the air. John in the
I played it in Zeppelin, and I just found myself carrying it around, which you can't do with either the bass or the Hammond organ or a piano. And it's just like, it's great to, you know, a little instrument, you can just like whip it out. And it goes in the overhead locker of an aeroplane as well, so it's got so much going for it. And you can play anything on it.
Are we rolling, Charlie? Oh, we are, okay. All the young girls look like ravens as they flock around the pool, and they peck at their reflections in the shadows of men's drool.
Robyn basically asked if we'd sing harmony on a couple songs. He was starting a new record, and would we sing with him? And so yes, of course the answer is yes, because we're huge fans of his work. And so he came to Nashville, and within about 4 hours, I think, I knew we weren't singing harmony on a couple songs. We were, in fact, making a record with Robyn.
Oh, I think he may have had a nefarious master plan. I don't know. Because there were no tracks involved that came for us to sing on.
This stuff wasn't rehearsed, some of it, and he's so spontaneous that you can't ask him to do it again. It's like he may have already started the take. And so I know there's at least one song on the album where I'm not even holding an instrument when he starts. And my guitar entrance is me getting a guitar and like sitting down and starting to, like I come in, I physically pick up an instrument in some song. And that might be Flanagan's.
Yeah, I think that is take one. I don't think that was, I think we played it a couple other times and then maybe once up the octave, but I think that was the first time we sang it.
Like the tiny frog that breathes, I can nestle your rose. Now the party's over. The drugs are taking themselves. I'm going home. That was done with Gil and Dave, all three of us playing guitars, and everyone actually tried, because it was quite early in the session, so we were all trying to no one was trying to step out, so everyone was trying to hide behind everybody else. It sounds incredibly mature, you know, it's very, very tentative bits of picking, and then Dave will do some sort of very scuttling Quicksilver lick and then disappear back into it. And Gil's keeping fabulous time. People think it sounds like Leonard Cohen, but it was meant to sound like Johnny Cash. All the young girls look like ravens. They flock around the pool, and they peck at their reflections in the shadows of men's drool. See, it sounds better already.
This one I wrote the words this morning, and I suggested doing it in C sharp, which is a bit painful, but
choice.
Oh, okay, thank you. Cradle till dawn, the baby with its lips apart, against its mother's beating heart. She's cradled till dawn, cradled till dawn. I'm lying in a prison cell. I noticed you're in here as well.
it sounds really good to me, and there's a couple of really cool lines. But I wouldn't dream of showing this to anyone until I'd had a good old mull over it, and probably sucked all the juice out of it, actually, or made it into a much more sort of professional job before I'd show it to anyone, whereas you don't have any compunction about bringing out all your first drafts and throwing them in people's faces.
In some ways I work more scattershot at it than you do, because I get the feeling that you chisel away at your stuff for ages in low towers, and then it emerges with all the sort of frightening pinpoint clarity of a newborn baby emerging from the birth canal. Usually about 2 minutes.
Here we go. This is the reason why I should never talk about this shit.
No, and it's normally about 2 minutes 47 seconds long, and you've actually kind of constructed the whole thing absolutely perfectly. Whereas mine is actually a bit more haphazard. I've got the basic idea. Like, I find it much easier to improvise stuff if there's an audience, but if there's no one around, I don't have to bother. I could always go and make a phone call or something. This might be the only way I have of actually finishing stuff. But nonetheless, I'm really touched that you like it, because I think it's got potential.
Cradle till dawn, everybody dies alone, but you and I still have the phone. Cradle till dawn, cradle till dawn, cradle till dawn, cradle till going where the streets are seas, and down beneath my keel, the seaweed flows through the ventilation shafts, and that's the way I feel. On the wind,
the overtones of it are enough because it's seen as a novelty thing, you know. Oh yeah, musical sword and spoon, song and a dance, you know, all that kind of stuff. But actually, if you use it correctly, I mean, I like it because it's quite eerie.
I loved it, and I wanted to play it, and I think I told quite a few people I was going to learn to play it, but didn't actually have one. And then George, my dad, bought me one for my birthday. But the thing about you is you're very encouraging, and I've never felt intimidated to play with you, which is nice.
Well, I'm not really professional. See, I never had any lessons. I think it's you know, it's this thing, if you feel like playing something, then you eventually are able to play it. Or you're able to then play it in the way you feel. I mean, I still can't play Three Blind Mice on the guitar. I guess because I've never wanted to.
No.
So, you know, finding precise notes is always a bit of a struggle still, but it makes it more exciting.
It's G to D, then B minor. Or we do G to D to B minor, then back to G, then to A, and the choruses. Basically the whole thing, and it just goes around in different increments of length. So I will face you, and assuming that Robyn sticks to the schedule, we should both know what we're doing, which isn't always a guaranteed thing. But,
Do you want to actually come and sing it on this side of the thing? The secret origin of Nick Lowe, yeah.
Let's get that off now. I'm not sure if I know how it goes.
Oh, you'll pick it up because you're incredibly intuitive. Do you want to do a John and Paul with Scott? Hang on. Do you remember that one, Sicky Boy, the other night in the doorway?
We inject all our boys with a hardening fluid to help them suppress all those wet, slushy feelings. And they do. And we soak all our girls in a leather solution to help them get over emotional weather, to make them believe that they have one another. Someday we'll rise. Someday we'll rise. But in the meantime, we love you. Sicky boy. We love you. Sicky boy. And the loser is somebody who wins every once in a while. Adventure rocket ship inside a head parade.
In a funny way, we're a little sort of micro family, really. We've been around the whole world backwards. We're all in a van. There's Peter with, you know, everything just squashed around him in a way that he couldn't possibly have with REM. A whole load of nachos with cheese floating about somewhere. I remember there was like some cheese from...
Was it Simpson?
Maybe it was... We wouldn't have brought cheese back from Canada, would we?
Chicago?
Might have been Chicago cheese.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Welcome to the world of rock musicians on tour.
I don't
Where
remember
did the cheese
anything
come
about
from?
nachos.
Okay, so this is the legendary Maxwell's. I first played here in 1980 with the Soft Boys. Peter first played here in 1981 with REM. Scott played here in 85 with the Fellows, and Bill, it seems, has never played here.
I've played with some really great musicians and over the years, and done some very intense gigs with the Soft Boys and the Egyptians and all the other various chums, but I think this is just the most fun I've had. And you know, we're exploring interesting places, bombing around North America in a small van, which is stuff that we all did 20, 25 years ago. You know, some of us graduated to bigger vans, buses, you know, and some of us have just worked, but we've all worked our way back down again, you know. I would never have wanted to go around in a small van with the Soft Boys or the Egyptians, or no, you know, you needed the space that you have on a bus, and you know, it's just been us and Michelle and Brian, and it's a dream.
A trip like this, the ratio of music to bullshit, the music is a lot higher than it is on an REM tour. I just have to deal with such crap that it makes it kind of unpleasant, you know. The playing with REM is great, and I love the people I play with, but I just don't want to spend 4 hours a day shaking hands with people I don't know. You know, and with this kind of thing, I really don't have many responsibilities other than to show up and sound check and then do the show.
Doesn't feel like you're a backing musician or whatever necessarily, because we've been playing so many gigs together over the last year. year and a year and a half or
Yeah.
something. It feels pretty band-like. You know.
Once we hit stage, all of us, it's, you know, we're there. We're there to play.
He's in the pink, or in the red, or in the black.
Morris is a great singer. I mean, he's always, his biggest love, apart from his family, is the Beach Boys and Brian Wilson. And whilst he was, you know, officially the drummer who sang in the Soft Boys and later Robyn Hitchcock and the Egyptians, I now see him a bit as the singer who drummed. And it's always nice to drape his voice over things. You know, the Soft Boys is long gone, and Robyn Hitchcock and the Egyptians is equally long gone, really. But I think just singing with Morris is, to me, the kind of legacy of all that. It gives you, in a very, very skeletal essence, what that particular sound was about.
Uncorrected personality traits that seem whimsical in a child may prove to be ugly in a fully grown adult. Lack of involvement with the father or over-involvement with the mother can result in lack of ability to relate to sexual peers. And in homosexual leanings, narcissism, transsexuality, girls from the waist up, boys from the waist down. Attempts to be
Dark and funny definitely fit well together. You know, it's a way of redeeming something which is otherwise unbearably bleak. You know, why not sing it?
The adult alcoholic who's the middle-aged suicide. Oi, so
Living with the consequences of dark humour is a bit different. You know, you could say something that seemed to acknowledge how terrible things are in a funny way, and then you might have to live with the consequences.
It's wonderful, like in something like My Wife and My Dead Wife, the line about still wearing flares, you know, where it's like, just him realizing, well, if there was a dead wife, and of course she'd be dressed in the older fashions, and you know, and just the level of detail at which he, you know, paints his picture.
Yeah, I don't think it's very jokey. At least, I mean, you know, that's not really what I responded to.
my wife sits down on the stairs. She's combing her hair. I know she's there, 'cause I'm drilling holes in the wall. Little holes in the wall. I turn round and my dead wife's upstairs. She's still wearing flares. She talks out loud, but no one hears. My wife and my dead wife. Am I the only one that sees her? My wife and my dead wife. Doesn't anybody see her at all? Okay, yeah, we'll play everything. But we'll play everything in a condensed way so you're not stuck here forever. So if you don't want to, if this song isn't one you want to hear, just imagine a different one, you know. Could be anything. People get what they deserve. Time is round and space is curved. Honey, have you got the nerve to be Queen Elvis? It could break your mother's heart. It's already broken your father's heart. Coming out's the hardest part. When you're Queen Elvis.
Most of my songs are about sort of looking at my hands and going, oh my God, I'm actually here. I'm in the flesh module. Geez, you know, look at that. Wow, how did I get here? What will happen before me and you know, what will happen after me and what happened beforehand? It's sort of like a termite coming out of a wall in infinite darkness and looking up, hearing no echo, and then somehow the termite manages to strike a match and just has one glimpse of how awful the, you know, infinity is, that there's no bottom below and no ceiling above. At least it's not too claustrophobic.
Getting blowjobs from the press. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la. Oh, I'm jealous, can't you guess? I'd never squeeze into your dress. Queen Elvis.
I love that all of the world seems available to Robyn for his art. Everything. There's no situation too mundane or so mundane that when seen through his eyes and put through his creative filter won't come out the other end a Robyn Hitchcock song.
Women have sharper antennae than men in some ways, which means when they go off they can get really scary. Men are usually just physically dangerous, but they don't have the same emotional dynamics that women have, and both creatures are pretty terrifying, male and female. Between them they produce the most terrifying thing of all, which is babies, which develop their own multiple warheads and become people like us. And so this is a serenade to a woman trapped in the heart of America, feeling it beat against her ribs, but it's not her own.
I have the suspicion, though I don't know, because you say that you're creeped out about things a lot. And I wonder if that was one of the things that I think, oh, that may have found its way through the, you know.
If I didn't like something, I'd say that really creeped me out.
Who knows?
Yeah. Nashville's pretty creepy in January.
Creeped out American girl, creeped out by the carpet signals, creeped out by the magical world. Everything is happening behind your eyes. Creeped out American girl, creeped out by the animations. Up the wall, out the window they twirl, looking for the animal behind your eyes. It's behind your eyes.
I know inside myself I've got a lot of sustain. I'm a strong person, not in terms of conventional ambition or a desire to get to the top or to go, look, I'm top of the world. But I don't go away. I keep doing what I do, and nothing has so far deflected me from my own self-doubt.
Behind your eyes, it's behind your eyes, it's behind your eyes. Creeped out American cool.
At heart, I'm a frightened, angry person, and that's probably why my stuff isn't totally insubstantial. You know, I'm constantly, you know, deep down inside in a kind of rage, and I would imagine a lot of people are. It's part of being socialised, but not being socialised properly, you know. So there's a hop core, and then on top, you know, I have this sort of whimsical, slightly academic detachment, you know, sprinkled with a patina of rock and roll mannerisms I've picked up over the years. You know, the real me is just screaming. That's why I keep going.
Well, there's always someone young and fresh, or cold and rotten. 1 in a million people touch you. How do I explain? Sincerely I remain Arthur Kane.
Right now, off the new record, there's a song called New York Doll about Arthur Kane. It's just a great song, and it's really moving and really touching. It's hard for me to play it, it's so moving, you know. I mean, I really kind of emotionally react to it.
I was really something on the map that never ends. I was the pulse of it all. But there's always poison to take alone or to share with friends. 1 in a million people matter, then they go again. Sincerely I remain Arthur Kane. Arthur Kane. The news is out all over town that was red which once was brown, and now it's brown that once was red. It's all wrapped up and back in bed. But it's not very nice when you look at it. For the girl and went away. 2 for the girl and went astray.
It's just that thing of balancing an awareness of your own pain with an empathy for other people's. You know, the first thing you do is ignore your own pain. The second thing is you get swallowed up by it. The third thing is you've got to realize that it's happening to everybody.
The authority box and the hand grenade. Love is in the blade. No one ever touches, everybody watches everyone.
I think there's just a kind of pulse in the organism of good rock music, which I still love. When the occasion comes along, the chance comes to play that. In some ways, I actually feel like I'm probably rocking out for the first time in my life, you know, at 53, so I'm like 7 years off the bus pass.
I call your name. but you don't hear me anyway. When the sun goes down, I'm a lonely boy with a lonely kiss. Say what you like about this, but I never ever bother you.
My stuff doesn't appeal to meatheads. Having said that, it's not particularly intellectual or particularly pretentious or particularly arty. So it's not something that kind of graces the divans of the smooth. It's not, you know, de rigueur for the elfin set or whatever. My stuff's still got quite dirty feet.
Oh, fuck me, baby. I'm a trolley bus.
There was a lovely bit when we started the authority box, and a couple kind of looked at each other right up the front and gave each other this lovely little kiss on the mouth, you know, like, darling, it's our special moment, and I was going, fuck me, baby, I'm a trolley bus. And sort of, they're playing our song.
Trolley bus. Whoa, fuck me, baby. I'm a trolley bus.
Well, I've been around Belltown quite a lot. You know, we always stay in this area in Seattle. As you frequent an area, it develops its own history. You know a few things and they gradually slip into the past.
It's an independent life, and you want to see your eyes reflected in the world. So you go down forth to Blanchard and turn right on Rock Blue. Past the crocodile, then you slide down forth again, where the Claremont used to be, C-L-A-R-E-N-O-N-T. Then you find the Uzbek.
I was always maybe a bit embarrassed about being a focal point, being a performer, being a star, if you like. You know, if people started going, well, Robyn, we love you, I'd always think, oh, fuck off, you don't, you know. You can't love me, sorry, mate, I'm off. You know, I'd want to skulk in the shadows, but I actually now enjoy being, you know, Princess Robyn, bounding around on stage, blowing kisses, grinning at people and spraining my back. And I think it's been with this lot. I just feel brought to life.
Now I'm in my element, I'm where I ought to be.
All the time I've been coming to Seattle, the last 15 years, this car wash has been here. And this is the elephant that doesn't rotate. And then right by it is the elephant that does rotate. And people think I make stuff like that up. But more often than not, I'm just transplanting it from one area and moving it into another. You know, it's like saying, well, is a horse weird? Well, a horse is weird if it's in an aeroplane, especially if it's in business class. You know, a horse is not weird in a field. An onion makes perfect sense surrounded by other onions and shallots and stuff, but it looks more out of place if you find it working for the Ministry of Defence. Now, you see, look, this is a tragic specimen. This is what happens when cone abuse occurs, which is, of course, all too often. I mean, a cone which started life probably healthy and full of whatever expectations a cone might have. We can see now in a kind of pitiful, shattered state outside Easy Street in Seattle.
Very sad.
I mean, I can, what can you do? It's, you know, it's like putting a bandage on the dead, really. I mean, we can put the little specks on it. If there's time, we'll go up to Peter's apartment
while we're loading into the croc.
Okay.
Peter and I will run through a couple of songs in the apartment with, yeah.
Well, then I will.
I should tell Peter this as well. I know where he is. Oh, wise lad, he's not even registered. Okay. Let's just lose that altogether.
Furry black legs and a spicy goatee. If you see Gina, won't you kiss him for me?
Oh, hello. Okay, we'll just come through.
Through the dark window, she squeezes her egg.
You could probably rob a bank with that stuff, couldn't you? See, life in an elevator could be seen as a kind of acceleration, a preparation for an ascent even higher. There could be sects all over middle America of people who want to be catapulted to the rapture by revving up in an elevator. It's possible. I hope it's not. Oh, here we are. Hey, Peter. Hey, Chloe, it's just us again. Carlos. 16 years apart,
When you play music together for a long time and are friends, I think you tend to influence each other. And I know that things pass around. Robyn and I play guitar very similarly, and we always have. I mean, from the first time we played together, there was real similarity in our styles. He finger picks and I use a flat pick, but it's really hard to pick apart who is which when we're recording. And I you know, once we play together a long time, just things, you know, ideas pass back and forth.
Try that thing again. Walking away, sound breaks on wood. I was no good, I was your friend.
Peter gravitates to a certain kind of guitar sound, a certain kind of music, as do I.
We're gonna go anywhere else.
And Peter has said, you know, that he's just trying to do what I would do if I had an extra pair of hands.
You know, and gosh, from there...
We don't have to commit, I'm just wondering...
He's happy to play in a little club to 70 people, and he's quite happy to, you know, headline a gig to 100,000. He seems to act exactly the same way, you know. If he's into it, and that's it, really. Of the clutch of eggs that were laid in the summer, the stuff I was playing in the back garden and that we were running through with everybody, I would say there's about 4 that we definitely keep.
What you call fate, I call mom and dad. They drive you mad, your mom and dad. They're what you had or never had. We evolved, find it breaks my heart. We evolve and we fall apart. What you call fame, I call it pollution. what you believe is gonna kill us all.
I keep expecting that someday someone's going to discover one of his songs and have a huge hit. I mean, his stuff is very catchy, you know. I think he's a great songwriter, really emotional lyrics to me.
We evolve and thank fuck for that. We evolve is the world still flat.
Playing music justifies existence. I often feel, you know, really shitty and poisonous, and I think I've just got life wrong, and then I'm there with a guitar or there with my friend, you know, my musician colleagues, we're picking away, and whoosh, all that horrible, toxic idiocy that seems to fuel human life is all transferred into fuel.
We evolve.
Hello? Who's calling? Tracy, yeah, this is Robyn. I'm on the street. Roger, okay. Where do you think Roger is? Roger has a beard and glasses. Where did you last see him? Oh, I see. Hang on, I can't see anyone with a beard and glasses. Tanned older model truck. Jeez. Anyone seen Roger? No, I would call back in like sort of 5 minutes or something. I can't see him. I'm afraid I'm just passing by, so I can't immediately help you. Okay, you're very welcome, Tracy. Bye. Looking for Roger.